Daizowa, thank you for joining us. Here are the weekly highlights of Arakan. Regime airstrikes injure 11 civilians, destroy over 100 homes across Arakan State. Military tensions escalate in Sittwe as Myanmar Navy boosts reinforcements. Arakan Army offensive pushes regime forces to retreat toward Taung Maw Gyi naval station. Junta Navy shelling kills elderly woman, injures 6 civilians in Kyaukphyu. Arakanese welcome upcoming launch of Arakan Lottery. 2 men severely injured in landmine explosions in Arakan State. Fighting has continued across Arakan State for more than 2 years as the Arakan Army presses its offensives. From May 18th to 24th of 2026, covering the conflict and other regional news, we'll be bringing you key developments regarding the situation in Arakan. Regime airstrikes injure 11 civilians, destroy over 100 homes across Arakan State. 11 civilians, including a Buddhist monk and a child, were injured and more than 100 homes were destroyed after the regime carried out airstrikes and drone attacks on Gwa, Remri, and Kyaukphyu townships in Arakan State over the past 3 days. On May 21st, the regime launched airstrikes on Jingjali town and Gwa township, injuring 9 civilians. Around 9 a.m., 2 junta jet fighters reportedly carried out about 10 bombing attacks on the town, with explosions striking Ward Number 2. 2 residential houses in the ward were also damaged in the attack. Similarly, on May 20th, a regime drone strike targeted a monastery in Lower Yendenji village in Remri township, injuring a child and a Buddhist monk. The attack occurred at around 11 a.m. while monks were having their morning meal. In Kyaukphyu Township, regime aircraft carried out bombing attacks on Sittwe town on May 19, destroying at least 100 homes in the fires. According to local residents, the entire Shohindao ward was burned down following the air raid. Fighting remains intense between regime forces and the Arakan Army in Sittwe and Kyaukphyu townships, where the military still retains partial control. At the same time, the regime has intensified aerial attacks on Arakan Army-controlled areas across Arakan State, with civilian towns and villages increasingly coming under attack. Military tensions escalate in Sittwe as Myanmar Navy boosts reinforcements. Military tension is reportedly high between the regime and the Arakan Army on the Sittwe battlefield as Myanmar's military regime has recently reinforced its forces from Kyaukphyu to Sittwe using warships. In recent days, 2 Myanmar Navy warships docked in Sittwe and reinforced military forces. While naval movements near areas controlled by the Arakan Army, drone surveillance, and airstrikes have also been reported. In Sittwe, the regime has tightened security and is reportedly carrying out daily inspections of homes under the pretext of checking overnight guest lists. Since Sittwe is the only remaining city in northern Arakan State yet to be captured by the Arakan Army, observers believe clashes could intensify due to the regime's reinforcements and the military situation of the Arakan Army. Analysts also believe that the Arakan Army could launch efforts to capture Sittwe during the upcoming monsoon season amid the ongoing military buildup by both sides. Arakan Army offensive pushes regime forces to retreat toward Taung Maw Gyi naval station. Arakan Army offensive pushes regime forces to retreat toward Taung Maw Gyi naval station. Regime forces advancing near Sittwe town in Kyaukphyu Township, Arakan State, have reportedly suffered heavy casualties from Arakan Army attacks, forcing them to retreat toward the Taung Maw Gyi naval station. Since May 10th, regime forces have deployed naval support and launched an offensive with at least 2 columns toward areas near Sittwe town, which is under Arakan Army control. Although they initially managed to establish limited footholds, they are now gradually withdrawing due to Arakan Army counteroffensives. Since May 15th, the Arakan Army has encircled and blockaded a hilltop camp near Awatdown village, where regime forces had taken position, while also intercepting reinforcement columns attempting to reach the area. Awatdown village lies between the Taung Maw Gyi naval station and Sittwe town, about 2 miles from the naval base in a straight line. At present, regime forces have reportedly been pushed back to within just over 1 mile of Taung Maw Gyi naval station, while the Arakan Army continues shelling the base with heavy weapons. Clashes between regime forces and the Arakan Army have continued within a 10-mile radius north of Sittwe town since February 2024. The regime is now attempting to push towards Sittwe town using the Taung Maw Gyi naval station as a staging point. Sittwe town lies more than 30 miles south of Kyaukphyu town. Junta Navy shelling kills elderly woman, injures 6 civilians in Kyaukphyu. A local woman was killed and 6 civilians, including a Buddhist monk, were injured after a Junta Navy warship shelled villages in Kyaukphyu Township, Arakan State, where fighting between the regime forces and the Arakan Army is intensifying. During the night of May 17th, a regime Navy warship positioned at sea near Zhenshao village continuously fired heavy artillery at villages where civilians reside. In Kyaukphyu, where clashes remain intense, the regime is reportedly carrying out daily attacks on civilian villages using heavy weapons, small arms, kamikaze drones, and airstrikes, with civilian casualties continuing to rise. Fighting has intensified near Thaishang and Zaishang villages, about 10 miles south of Kyaukphyu town, as well as around Taung Maw Gyi naval station and Sittwe town. As the regime reinforces its naval and air power while defending its positions, military analysts said the fighting in Kyaukphyu could escalate further. Arakanese welcome upcoming launch of Arakan Lottery. The Central Customs and Taxation Department under the United League of Arakan will officially launch and begin selling the Arakan Lottery next month in areas controlled by the Arakan Army. According to the announcement, lottery tickets will now go on sale starting July 1st for citizens wishing to participate. With each ticket priced at 1,000 jet, lottery drawings will be held once every month. A total of 39 prizes will be awarded, including a first prize of 50 million jets, a second prize of 30 million, as well as prizes worth 10 million, 4 million, 2 million, and 1 million jets. The ULA stated that 50% of the revenue generated from the ticket sales will be distributed as prize money, while the remaining 50% will be allocated to development projects in Arakan State, including road and bridge construction, education, and healthcare. Lottery drawings will be held on the first day of every month at the Arakan Lottery branch under the Central Customs and Taxation Department, and the events will also be broadcast online and through other media platforms. The 6-digit lottery tickets will be available for purchase at sales shops operated by nearby Arakan Lottery branches across Arakan State, as well as at Central Customs and Taxation Department offices in relevant districts and townships. 2 men severely injured in landmine explosions in Arakan State. A local man lost toes on his right foot after stepping on a landmine in 4th Mile Village, Maw Gyi Township, Arakan State, on May 18th. The injured man has been identified as 46-year-old Kim Maw Nai from Chitabara Village in Maw Gyi Township and is currently undergoing emergency medical treatment. The incident occurred while he was clearing grass near an area where agriculture seeds were stored in 4th Mile Village, where he accidentally stepped on a landmine. Junta troops had previously set up a camp at that location. A local man lost a leg and sustained severe injuries after stepping on a landmine in Mribun Township, Arakan State on May 18th. Locals said. The injured man is 40 years old, Maw Wang Lai. From Mongshong Village, Mribun Township, he stepped on a landmine at around 3 p.m. on May 18th while going to cut bamboo in a forest near Yaw Creek Bridge. Local residents said regime troops previously camped and stationed near the bridge during earlier periods of fighting. Although the Arakan Army is carrying out landmine clearance operations in many townships and conducting awareness campaigns about the dangers of landmines and explosive remnants of war, many locals who rely on forests and mountains for their livelihoods continue to suffer injuries and deaths caused by landmines and unexploded ordnance. These are the main highlights of the past week in Arakan. This program is presented every Tuesday, so please stay tuned. May all people of Arakan and the world stay healthy and safe.